This is the story of a city that sinks every year. And don't get me wrong, there are bigger disasters happening in the world right now. There's a war in Europe, for heaven's sake, but this story is important too. It's the story of thousands of cracks in the roads, of buildings that lean so far to one side that they have to be demolished. It's the story of an entire city that's slowly but surely being ripped apart. It is also the story of a quiet disaster because even though Mexico City is sinking 20 inches per year in some places, not that many people are talking about it. So let's talk about it. Let's explain what's happening here and why it matters. Mexico City sits where a large lake once did. The city's 5 million strong population relies on that lake for water. In fact, they're pumping it up faster than nature can replace it. Over time, the water table has dropped 300 feet in some areas. When you remove that much water, it doesn't just fill back in, not when you're pumping out 5 million people's worth of demand. That's why the land is sinking. It's a simple equation really. Remove more water than is naturally replaced. You get less water and land that can't support itself. So it sinks. The worst part, it's not getting any better. Engineers say the city could sink another 30 feet this century. Some parts have already sunk 30 feet. A highway built in the 1960s now sits almost 100 feet lower than it did at opening. And yet the city carries on. People drive on roads that buckle in the heat and the rain, then crack and warp as the earth beneath them shifts and slides. They walk on sidewalks that buckle like crumpled foil. They work in offices that lean so far to one side that they have to put shims under the doors so they can open. All the while, more and more of the city disappears under the lake. There are other cities built on water, Venice, for example, or Amsterdam. But those cities are held up by piles driven deep into solid ground or floating platforms built to distribute the weight. Mexico City isn't doing any of those things. It's basically treading water, trying to stay above the surface. It's a losing battle. This is a story that we couldn't find anyone else covering. We didn't know how or why this was happening. And after months of reporting, we realized no one else was covering it either. But it's important. If one of the world's largest cities can literally vanish under its own weight, what does that say about the rest of our water-stressed planet?